Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Embridge Consulting webinar this morning. For those of you that have not been to one of our webinars before, we'll go over a short agenda. I'll introduce you to our guests, and then we'll have a Q&A session. Before we dive into this webinar, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. The webinar is being recorded, so should you have to drop off early or you have to go to a meeting, this will be recorded and therefore we can send you a copy. You can share this with your colleagues. But just to give you a heads up, we will have a Q&A session, and there is a chat on your Zoom webinar where you can actually ask us questions. So please do, throughout the session, drop those questions across into that chat and we will pick those up at the end of the demonstration. We do have some new people joining us, so we are going to do a brief overview of what GCON4 MFL actually is. Apologies to those that are joining us today that actually already use GCON4, because we do have a number of users joining us today to understand what Update 5 is all about. So welcome to the existing customers, and also welcome to those new people that haven't joined us before on one of these webinars. We're also going to include a number of examples at the end of the demonstration to you, which just gives you a flavour of what GCON4 can actually do in a day-to-day environment. So hopefully that will help you with some good ideas of how you can put GCON4 MFL to the test in your own environment. So for those of you that don't really know a lot about Embridge, we've been providing services to the Unit4 market since 2009. We became a partner of Unit4 in 2015. Some excellent news this week. We achieved the ISO 27001, which was a great achievement, and well done to the team that was involved in that. Just a quick mention, we do have some public Unit4 courses that we run in our Bristol office, and we'll be publishing those over the coming months. We've already been oversubscribed for the March courses, but we'll be holding more of these over the next 6 to 12 months, so you'll be able to come and join us. And we also have a suite of e-learning courses, which you may have had or visited one of the webinars before. We'll be announcing another webinar very shortly, which is to do with our EVA solution. We have it for finance, and we also have it for HR. And basically that's a value accelerator that we've invested an awful lot of time and effort in. If it's something of interest, drop me a message and I'll send you more information, but we will be running a webinar on this fairly shortly. We're just tying up some dates on that. So I just wanted to mention that that will possibly be the next webinar that we'll be running. So as I mentioned, please submit your questions through to us for the end of the session. I'm going to hand over to Jon and Albert, who are going to take you through the next step. Jon and Albert are GCON4, and they'll introduce themselves to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Well, good morning, everyone. The agenda for today, as Tracy mentioned, I will do a quick introduction about what is MFL, okay, for those who are new, and also emphasizing on what are the new features in MFL v5.0. So after that, Jon is going to help me to do a clear demonstration on how MFL can help you to speed up data migration or data upload into Business World. Also, we'll show you some scenarios for daily basis data maintenance, and also we'll finish with how MFL can be used also for integration purpose. So MFL. So the objective when we developed MFL was to reduce the maintenance time of UBW by 50%, and we can say we have achieved that, especially in areas like bulk data maintenance, bulk data upload, and also integrations. Okay, so that's quite an achievement here. So what does it do? GCON4 MFL covers the upload. When I say upload, I mean insert, but also update of master data, but also transactional data, including all relations, flexi fields, and document archive. Okay, so just following 4 simple steps. First of all, we need to set up all our UBW, okay, all the relations, flexi fields, everything. We do all the configuration there. After that, using GCON4 MFL, we will be able to generate Excel templates based on your existing configuration. Those Excel templates can be populated automatically using MFL, extracting information from the system, or can be populated manually from any other third-party software or manually on Excel. Okay. Once the Excel is populated, then we can use MFL again to do the upload, just pressing one button. So what are the new features of version 5? Okay, we have added additional master files. When I say master files, also transactional data. So for example, we are able to upload purchase order, but not only upload them, but also amend them. Jon will show a scenario where we can extract POs massively. I'm sure you have this kind of situation many times where you need to massively close POs or change the status or change the delivery or whatever you need to do with POs. So you can do that massively using MFL now. You can also upload a goods received transaction, sales order. You can upload a stock entry and a stock withdrawal. Okay, so you can manage all your stocks also now using GCON4 MFL. Additionally, we have the ability now to also upload multilingual descriptions on attribute value. This is very useful for those organizations who have overseas offices with using many languages. So we can now upload also everything using Excel very quickly. Okay. Another feature is that now we have more than just one log file, so we keep all the previous log files. So you have the historical, you can see all your uploads and check everything you have done previously, not just the last upload. Okay. And on top of that, we have removed the dependency of Office license in the web server. Okay, so that means that your web server now won't need to have Office license. Okay, so features of MFL 5.0, including new and previous. Okay, so as you can see here, we divided them as usual by work stream. So from an administration perspective, we can upload roles, uses, currency types, exchange rates, system attribute values, any user-defined attribute, as you can see here. From finance perspective, accounts, UL transaction, AP, AR transaction, fixed asset, depreciation books, posting types. From sales to cash, customer groups, customers, terms of delivery, products, units, complaint codes, and now even sales order. From procure to pay, we can upload supplier groups, suppliers, supplier pay recipient, products, purchase price list. Well, this whole list here, plus, as mentioned, POs, PO amendments, goods received, stock withdrawal, and stock entry. From project management perspective, we can also upload project types, project work order activities, income categories, cost categories, project connections, resources, well, the whole list you have here, okay? Then not only we can upload the standard fields of every of these single items, but we also can upload any related relation, flexi field, and even document archive. Okay. Additionally, as I mentioned previously, MFL can be used as an integration software. because now we also read CSV files, okay? So any of those elements here can be uploaded not only using Excel, but also flat files like CSV. So regarding HR, we are also able to upload all this stuff here, like resources, all tabs, applicants, personnel rate, bank details, next of kin, employments, etc. From position perspective, we can upload, well, everything: position register, position codes, position requirements, position role connections, and so on. Workforce management, again, work schedule, personal work schedule. From payroll or rewards, we can upload P&Ds, rates and value reference, pay steps, pay scales, payment dispatch, value reference, etc. Training admin, also we can upload course codes, course IDs, training records, and competence groups. Okay, again, not only standard fields, but also any related relation flexifeed and even document archive. And also we can use this for integration purpose. So how does it work? We have developed our own custom web service, okay? And this web service do exactly the same validation that any standard UBW screen, okay? So for example, when we try to upload products, okay, every single validation that the product standard screen does, we also do, okay? So and additionally, we have very detailed information on the errors that we find when we try to upload. Okay, that makes MFL very easy to be used by even end users. Okay. So here you can see some worldwide customers. We have been this product have been in the market now for about 4 years now. We are in version 5 already. We keep updating it on yearly basis. And as you can see, we have quite a lot of customers globally, okay? Just to emphasize, for example, Unit4 themselves, they bought the product, they use it for their own implementation, for doing the data migration, but they are also using it on daily basis for data management. I think we have a question. I will try to answer those questions. No, as of now, absence and transaction and balances are not included yet. Okay, our aim is to keep adding additional elements to be uploaded. Okay, so in version 5 we included all those that I mentioned, like POs, PO amendments, its order, and all that. Absence, transactions, and balances, this is something we want to do in the, it's in our plan to develop, but not available yet. Okay, so regarding customer success stories, we have some customer success stories together with Embridge. So they are available for you if you have any questions, okay, regarding this. Also, we are gonna also would like to highlight, okay, that coming soon, we just released version 5, but we continue working, and coming soon, should be by end of the year, we will release a new version, which is 5.0, which will include a web version of MFL. As you see here, it will be embedded within UBW. So MFL will be part of, you will see MFL as additional menu within UBW, okay? So you won't need to have a separate exe file for your users, okay? So that's something that is coming in version 5.1. So now I'm gonna let Dion to continue with the interesting part, which is the real demo of the product.
Okay, thank you, Albert. Can you hear me, everybody?
Yes, indeed, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. So let's go to see the tool itself. I know some of you already are current MFL users, so some of the things I'm gonna say I know are gonna be familiar to you. I'm gonna include the new functionality that we have added within the normal presentations we do for us to be everybody involved during the day, okay? So as Albert mentioned, we need to install in our web server our web service, okay? And we just need to, once we execute the exit of the MFL, we just need to include here the URL to where we are pointing, okay? Together with the user of Aggresso, the client of Aggresso, and the password of the user we are logging into MFL, okay? The first time we connect, second time we refresh, and it's at this point of time when we get all the setup we have done in whatever Aggresso instance we have. In this case, I am in milestone 7, okay, in the demo version, okay? And at this point of time is when we got all the relations, all the flexi fields, all the document types, etc., etc. Okay. So as Albert mentioned, we are going to focus the presentation in 3 main areas. The first one will be as a data migration tool, as a how to upload information into UBW. Okay. The second part will be how data maintenance can be improved. And thirdly, I'm going to show you how integrations with third-party tools can be improved by using MFL together with Intel agents. Okay, so let's go for the first one. I'm going to show you how how data upload, data migration can be done easily with GCON4 MFL. The first thing I need to proceed is to generate the Excel I'm going to upload later on. Okay, so the first thing I will need to do is to select which is the master file I want to select. In this case, if I want to choose personnel related information, I will see down here all the personnel related tabs together with flexis or whatever. If I want roles information, I will see roles related information. If I go for products, all products related information will be shown down here for me to select which are the fields I want to include. But before I go down, I would like to show you that each of those master files will have specific accesses for the user that is using MFL. In this case, the user MFL of Aggresso has permissions to create, update, and retrieve. Retrieve is when we get the Excel sheet auto-populated with existing information of Aggresso, okay? So this means that the system admin of GCON4 MFL is able to tell to whichever user of MFL, okay, who are gonna have access to which master files and exactly to do what, okay? This is done in the web services tab of the standard Aggresso screen, okay? The system admin will see all the master files available in here, and he or she will go checking which are the permissions the end user, the Aggresso user of MFL will have to each of those specific master files. If I want positions only need to be only updated, okay, I will keep it this way. Just for you to know, deletions are not allowed in GCON4 MFL, so this last one is useless for us, but the others, they are using, of course. Create, retrieve, extracting automatically information from Aggresso to the Excel, or updating information. This means that we can provide the tool, GCON4 MFL, to anyone in our organization, because as long as the system admin has given us the proper accesses to the master files that we want, the users won't be allowed to do anything that they shouldn't do, okay? Just for you to know that there is one master file called attribute, which will allow us to handle everything any other master file. This means that if we have user-defined attributes, we will see them in this drop-down list, and we will be able to upload also information of those user-defined attributes, together with their relations, flexes, etc., etc. Okay. So having said that, let's go to the supplier master file and to do an upload of supplier information. Okay. You will see down here some tabs. The tabs that you will see will vary depending on the master file we have chosen up here. And of course, you will see some standard information in here, some standard fields, okay? Some address related fields in here, some relations in here, document archive, and those three tabs you see here are the ones that will represent the flexi groups that we have in our master file. In this case, if I go to supplier 1 in my demo database, I have one flexi group called various, which will contain different bunch of flexi fields. I have another one called table, and I have another one called mix. Okay, those three flexi groups are the ones that I see in here in different tabs. And of course, within the tab, I will have all the flexi fields I have created for my database. Okay. So the idea here is that the user goes selecting which are the fields he or she wants to include in the Excel to upload later on into Aggresso. Those that you see that are already checked are mandatory fields, so that the user cannot select whether he or she wants them included or not. The other ones, of course, the user is able to select which ones they want and which ones they don't want. If they want all of them to be included, just click here and all the fields will be included automatically. With address, as address is a mandatory field, when we are creating a new supplier, this is already as an include sheet checked, auto-checked, and some fields will be, again, coming checked. The other ones is the user who selects whether we want to include them or not. For the example, I'm going to include them. Exactly the same with the relations, exactly the same with the document archive. I'm going to include a document, and exactly the same with the flexi fields I want to include. Okay. Basically, I'm going to select all of them. Once the user is happy with the selections he or she has done at this point, the user will have three different options to enhance the Excel we are creating. The first one is to protect or not the workbook we are creating now. Okay, this means that if I create it password protected, the user that handles this Excel will only be able to amend the data section of the Excel sheet, and no columns or rows can be deleted, for example, unless they know the password, of course. This second option will allow us to include 5 sample rows with random information of our database for the user to have an idea of which kind of data Aggresso is going to ask us to put. Okay, and these accepted values is going to be a new tab in the Excel sheet with all the valid values of the attributes that includes the master file we are handling. In this case, for suppliers, for example, the supplier group is another attribute that contains a bunch of attribute values that will be the valid ones for Aggresso. So we will see all of them in the accepted values. We always recommend this to be checked because it's very useful for the user. We are gonna see it in real life, so I'm gonna proceed to generate my Excel. Okay, and I'm gonna call this suppliers webinar. Let's see. Okay, I press save, and at this point of time is when we create the Excel. Of course, the Excel has been created with whichever tabs I have selected previously, with the random information I was mentioning to you, with 5 random rows in this case, okay? And how the Excel is structured. First, we will show, the Excel will show a default value row in which the user will put default values for those fields we want we are interested on. Okay, for example, for the supplier ID, of course, no defaults are allowed. So we make it very clear for a user to know that no defaults are allowed here. For the supplier group, let's say that we don't want all of those to be put, and we want supplier group 10 to apply for supplier 1, supplier 2, supplier 3, 4, and 5. Okay, or we want supplier 07 to be the one for 3, but 10 to be for the rest of them. Okay, this would apply for all the fields you see here or anywhere in whichever worksheet we have created. Okay. The second row will determine whether we have a mandatory field, which will come in blue color, and of course the supplier ID is a clear example of mandatory fields, or the optional ones, which will come in gray color. The optional ones, as long as we don't have the Excel sheet password protected, we could delete it, and the Excel sheet would still work exactly the same way. Okay. Of course, the information stored on those fields won't be uploaded. Okay. And you have some other fields here which will come in orange color. This means that are mandatory or optional depending whether we are doing an insert or an update of records. Imagine we are creating a new supplier. This supplier is a new one. The supplier ID 1 is a new supplier I'm creating for my database. Of course, the supplier name is a mandatory field. Aggresso won't allow me to create a new ID without a name. So this will be a mandatory field. But if I am updating, let's say the company registration number for the supplier ID 1, okay, I don't really need a supplier name or a supplier group or a country code, because GCON4 MFL is clever enough to know that I want to update this into this ID, and that's all. So that's why we say that those kind of fields that are coming in orange color are mandatory if I am doing an insert of the new record, and are optional when I am doing an update of any other field, which is not the one I'm choosing, of course. Okay. And thirdly, the third row will determine the field name itself. Okay. The first name will be the supplier ID, of course, and we put some tips for the user to know that this is the upper ID, that in here the maximum length is 255, etc. And for those fields that you see the blue color and a link here, the supplier group ID, for example, if I click here, it will come to the accepted values tab, the one I was mentioning previously, and the user will see here all the supplier group IDs that are valid values in Aggresso. Okay, so for example, 07, 1, or 10 are valid values. If I put here anything that is 10, 1, 07, or something that is coming in this list, it will turn green, the cell. If I put something that is not coming in these values, the cell will turn red, so that the user knows that this is not going to be allowed by Aggresso to put up. Okay, and this will apply not only for supplier groups, for all those fields that are actually a predefined list of attribute values that are corresponding to this master file. Exactly the same with country code. If I click here, all the country codes that I have set up in my database will come here. And if I put something that is not a country code in these cells, the Excel itself will tell me that this is not a valid value. Okay. So the idea is to go updating the Excel in order to have with all the information we want to upload. And once we are okay with the information, we will press upload. How to do this? If I go to my Excel, this one I cannot upload because our existing ID is already in my database. Okay? But I have Excel which is quite similar to the one I have shown you, with some IDs that don't exist in my database, okay? With some random information also in other fields, okay? With some addresses I have, just for you to know that if I want to include more than one address, we can play around with the sequence number. and we make a very clear tip for the user to know how to handle the sequence number. If I want to include the invoice address, the general address, the delivery address, or whichever address I want. I am including some relations here also. I'm gonna include a document to the supplier and also some flexi fields that I'm gonna show you here. When we are okay, for example, for the supplier ID that I want to verify, review with you after I do the upload. Okay, so once I'm okay with the Excel, I just need to press here load, choose which is the Excel that I am handling, which is this one. Okay, at this point of time is when I start doing all the validations. When GCON4 MFL starts validating, our web service starts working, and if something goes wrong, it's gonna tell me what went wrong. In this case, it's telling me that 5 rows were successfully validated and uploaded. And if I go to the Excel I want to check for the first supplier, I will see that user MFL today at this time has created this supplier, of course, with whatever information I had in my Excel. Okay, regarding standard fields, regarding relations, or regarding any flexi fields that we could have filled in the Excel, okay, with the webinar UK or whatever. Not only this, if I go to the document archive, I was able to attach, in this case, a picture, okay, of a baby kissing a fish, but of course, any Word, Excel, PDF document that Aggresso allows you to upload, GCON4 MFL also will allow you to upload. Okay. What happens when our users or ourselves, as humans, do some mistakes, and even though we make it quite simple, sometimes we do mistakes. Okay, and we put a relation value that is not correct, and we try to upload an Excel that is not correct. Okay, we have spent quite a lot of time trying to get the error messages the clearest we could. Okay, so in this case, if I am doing a mistake, for example, for those two suppliers in work order and product group, okay, the error messages are like ID ABC 821 in the sheet relation. This sheet has an invalid relation value, which is XXS, okay, for the related attribute product group, okay, or for the related attribute work order, so that the user knows where to go exactly to correct whatever happened during the upload process. Okay, this was the first area I wanted to show you regarding upload of data massively. Okay, the second part of the demo is about how data maintenance can be improved using GCON4 MFL. This means those daily, weekly, or monthly tasks that big companies need to perform in order to keep our database up to date. Okay, I'm going to show you some scenarios where you will see that GCON4 MFL will allow you to improve the time you spend on those kind of scenarios. But the scenarios are only illustrations for you to have an idea. Of course, in your organization, we are sure you will find many other options or cases in where you can find GCON4 MFL very useful. Okay, so first scenario, our procurement department has a challenge, and is that we have lots of suppliers in the system, and users complain about the extremely long supplier list when they do requisitions or when they do purchase orders. Okay, they need to go tab by tab, choosing which is the supplier. Which would be the standard solution? To go closing or parking those suppliers that we are not longer using. How to do this with GCON4 MFL? Okay, I haven't shown you yet, but Masterfile supplier in this case could have been retrieved automatically from Aggresso to the Excel sheet by putting some filters here. Okay, so in this case, if I say that please bring me those supplier IDs starting like ABC, okay, as long as I put something in here, GCON4 MFL understands that I am trying to retrieve information so that the Excel will be auto-populated with existing information of Aggresso. Of course, it's much easier to close them all in the Excel, save this Excel, and put back the information of the Excel into UBW. Okay. Another scenario: our super user has a challenge, and is that we have 5,000 users in the system, and due to a recent change of the company password policy, all the user password have to be reset. When we mention password, could be any other field of the user master file. Okay, the standard solution would be to go user by user, changing the password or any other field of the user one by one. With GCON4 MFL, again, what we suggest is choose master file user, bring all those users that you are interested in this case, all of the users we have, and change the passwords in the Excel, which is much easier. Save the Excel, put up the information back to UBW, and task complete. Okay. Scenario 3. Our super user has a challenge, and is that our company has many clients in the system, and due to a new acquisition, our user has to copy information, resources, project, work orders, or any other master file of its clients from company X to the new company. There is a standard solution for this, and many of you, I'm sure you will know it, which is the copy data between companies. This will copy things as they are. If you have A in the company 1, you will have A in company 2, okay? With GCON4 MFL, what we suggest is usually is much more realistic that instead of copying things, you need to kind of copy, then amend whatever information, and then put it back to the new client, okay? To do that, we think that MFL is a great approach because in this case, let's say you want to copy some projects from one client to another, you would choose here project master file. You just need to extract those that you are interested on, in this case, those projects where the currency is like GBP. In the Excel, you will have only those projects that you are interested in. Here you can do your amendments, your massage to whatever information you have in this Excel. You put the Excel complete and according to the new client you want. You save the Excel, you log on to the new client, and you put the information back, amended information into the new client. Okay. The scenario 4, our project management, has a challenge, and we have many projects and work orders, and a resource that is a project manager leaves the company. The user has to change the project managers in all the projects and work orders where the resource is responsible. Okay, the standard solution would be to go work order by work order. If Ian Beck is leaving the company, changing Ian Beck to whoever is new in the company. Okay, is the new responsible. What we suggest with GCON4 MFL is, okay, select master file work order, extract those where the guy that was leaving, Ian Beck, is the responsible for. You will have all those work orders in here. You will have the manager in here. You just need to change the work order manager in here, save it, put back the information into UBW, and you will have the new work order manager in hundreds or thousands work orders in few minutes. Okay. Another scenario, something similar. Our challenge is that in our structure, in our organization, the board wants to change the line manager of a large list of employees, and this is many times represented in the RESNO relation we have between the responsible or the line manager and the resource. Okay, how to change this? Of course, manually is you need to go one by one changing it. Okay, with GCON4 MFL, what we suggest is select master file personnel, extract those where the new relation value is the one that is leaving, Wendy in this case, okay? Those will be all the resources that belong to Wendy or Wendy is responsible for. If Wendy is now changing to any other line manager, we just need to change this to whoever new is coming, okay? save the Excel, put up the information back to UBW, and task complete. Okay. And the last scenario, and we are gonna do this in real life, is our purchasing department, okay, needs to close some POs, okay? For example, our challenge is that our company has discovered that one of our suppliers is going bankruptcy and want to park all their purchase orders, park or close or whatever we want, okay? What we just need to do in the standard solution is to go one by one, closing or parking those purchase orders that we are not interested on of those suppliers, okay? What we suggest with GCON4 MFL is, okay, extract those purchase orders that you want to close, okay? In this case, those that their supplier ID is 1002, and just close all the lines automatically. How to do that, okay? Let's go first to Aggresso, okay? I'm gonna show you a simple example, but of course this could be as complex as with many information as you would like to, okay? So I'm extracting some lines of purchase orders where the supplier ID is 1002, okay? I have those lines with my supplier and status N, and I want to change, in this case, the status. But of course, I could be changing any field of the purchase orders. As Albert mentioned, now we are able to amend existing purchase orders massively using GCON4 MFL. How to do it? We just need to go to generate. We need to extract those purchase orders that I want to amend. That's why this option is purchase order amendments, okay? I'm gonna select the ones I want, in this case, the ones that belong to supplier 1002. I'm gonna include all the fields for you to see that I'm able to change any of the fields I am interested on, okay? I'm gonna press generate, and I'm gonna say purchase orders amendments, okay? I save it. Of course, at this point of time is when MFL is trying to do the Excel. This is the header of my purchase order, okay? And those are the 5 lines I was showing you in Aggresso, okay? Of this ID, of this purchase order, okay? Let's say I want to close all of them, okay? I close, 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 okay? Or even I could put it as default, of course. I save it, I say MFL, okay, load these purchase orders, please. In this case is 1, but of course could be hundreds or thousands, or I could be updating not only the status and any other field you see in your Excel sheet here. Now it's telling me that one row, one purchase order was successfully validated and uploaded. And of course, if I go now to my browser, I will see that my status has changed to C. This means that the lines of the purchase orders are now closed for everybody, okay? And of course, this applies with many purchase orders, with many fields of the purchase orders, okay? This is something that we have new from this version we are showing you now, okay? And the last scenario is another new functionality we have, which is the multi-language functionality of any attribute, okay? Let's say our challenge is that we have some subsidiaries in South America and they need to access their system in Spanish. Of course, when we say South America, could be Japan, could be France, could be any other country which is not an English idiom country, okay? The standard solution to do all those translations is to go to those attribute values, okay? Press text here, and we are able to change the language, okay? In this case, in Spanish, okay? And we change administration and finance by, in Spanish, administración y finanzas, okay? This would be something we need to do one by one, value by value, for all the attributes we are interested on, okay, if we want to change the language. So with GCON4 MFL, what we have done is something very, very simple. We just need to go to Masterfile attribute. We select the attribute, in this case, cost center, okay? We need to make sure that language is selected. We will get an Excel with all the attribute values, okay, we are interested on, and with all the languages we want. And in this case, if I want to do it for Spanish and for English, I just need to go copy pasting all the values in here, save the Excel, and put up the information back. Of course, in this example, I'm putting 4 attribute values and 2 languages also only, but we could have here thousands attribute values multiplied by 5, 6, 7, 10 languages that we could add. So this is something that our customers were really asking us for. We think that nowadays it will be much easier to put up all these languages all together in the system at once, okay? Of course, with all the validations as Albert mentioned previously, okay? So this was my second part of the demonstration. I'm gonna take 5 more minutes to show you the third part of the integration, which is how GCON4 MFL is able to help us with integrations between third-party tools and Aggressor, okay? As Albert mentioned, we are able to read not only Excel files, as I have been showing you during the presentation, we are also able to read CSV files. So as long as the third-party tool provides us with a specific CSV file format, we will be able, using intelligence, to upload, of course, intelligence with GCON4 MFL, to upload this information into UBW, okay? In this case, I'm gonna put manually those suppliers related information into my data import, okay? Of course, this in real life would be something that the systems automatically do. And combining 2 intelligence, I will be able to upload the information automatically, and if error happens, to send an email alert to the responsibles automatically. The first intelligent will detect new files by directory polling, in this case, in my data import folder, okay? And we'll be checking CSV files of suppliers, okay, in this case. Whenever we find something like this, we will execute GCON4 MFL, okay? And this is happening every minute. So in my event history, now, just now, my intelligent has detected a new file and has launched GCON4 MFL to try to upload whatever information those CSV files contain. I already tell you that those CSV files contain some errors for you to see that, of course, if the CSV files are okay, the information is put up and everybody's happy. If something goes wrong, the second intelligent is detecting any errors found during the upload process to send the responsibles an email alert telling them what happened exactly, okay? So this second intelligent as an input is trying to seek in this specific path MFL logs, okay? And whenever the intelligent finds something, it's gonna send me, in this case to myself, okay, email telling me that they are responsible, please review this file created today, in this case, the date that was created in this directory because some error happens. This is happening every minute also, okay? So if I go to the inquiry, okay, it's telling me that at 12:20, the email was sent to myself. And if I go to my Outlook, I should be seeing here at 12:20, the email that intelligent has sent me, telling me they are responsible. Please review this log that has been created today in this directory because some error happened. What happened exactly? What I am seeing here attached. Okay, so we are able to send the MFL log to the users for them to see that this supplier ID in the sheet supplier has an invalid value, which is 9xxs for the field supplier group ID, so that the responsible of the integration knows what happened, okay, and where to go to correct whatever happened, okay. So this was what I had prepared for today's webinar. Not sure if you have any doubts or.
That was fantastic, Jon. Sorry, Albert.
No, there is some questions.
There are indeed. We've got a number of questions that we've had throughout the session. If we go to those questions now.
I tried to reply as much as I could.
Indeed, you have, Albert, I can see that. So for those people that haven't seen some of the answers to the questions, I'm going to run over some of these questions. And if Albert and Jon can perhaps answer them verbally, that would be fantastic. Now, I know we had one come across in terms of transactional data. Please, can you confirm that MFL covers absence, transactions and balances? I think we answered that earlier. When do you expect version 5.1 to be available? And I think the answer to that was between Q3 and Q4 later this year. We also had a further question. Does the data load work in conjunction with auto numbering? And the answer that we had to that was yes, MFL takes care of auto numbering. So if you have it activated, it will be used. They were the questions that came across on the chat, and we actually have a number of questions on the Q&A sessions as well. Sequence numbers, how do we know what the next number should be? Over to you guys. Is that a similar one to auto numbering?
No, well, sequence number, to be honest, I'm not sure what, you know.
Maybe it's related to this sequence number that I was mentioning.
Probably, yeah.
Basically, the answer here is that Aggresso works with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically, the address type is shown here. So we put it like, let's say, 1 is general, 2nd is delivery, 3rd is invoice, 4 is payment, whatever. Okay. So here we make very clear which is the address we want, and then if we want to include more than one, it's just adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sequence.
Okay, hopefully that answers your question there. We had a lovely feedback, great presentation, thank you. So thank you for that feedback. We've got another question regarding the PO's amendment. Is it only for the detail line that has the status closed, or the status of the PO itself?
Both. Could be the status of the PO itself. Okay, if you see in the Excel, I was changing in the purchase order details all those status. If we go to the purchase order amendment, which is the header itself, the PO status, we have it here also. So we can, of course, close, park, or whatever, this status also. Actually, any field that we see both in the header Excel or in the details Excel can be updated.
Excellent. And I'm just going through, I think we've answered most of those. Can we have a copy of the webinar? Indeed you can. We'll be sorting that out shortly after the webinar is finished. So yep, indeed we can send that over to you. I think for clarification of that earlier sequence question, sequence number of positions was the element that we had. Is that again something we can answer, or is that something we could take offline?
Yeah, I think it's better if we can take it offline, just
No
to make
problem
sure
at
we
all.
understand.
Excellent. We'll come back to you on that one. Just before we finish and close this webinar, I just want to check if there's anybody else that has any other questions at all. If you do, please drop them down into the chat. If we have missed any of your questions, you do have my email address. Please do get in touch. If you'd like to see more information on the GCON4 MFL solution and you'd like a more detailed or one-to-one session, then again, drop me an email and we can certainly arrange that for you. If you've got any other questions and you'd like, in terms of pricing, there are two versions available. You can buy an outright purchase, but it is also available as a software as a service. So if you only need it for a couple of months, then it is possible to subscribe to the software also. However, what we have found is that once people start using this solution, they will actually continue using it and find other ways that they can incorporate the software. There are so many things that you can do and also integrate with this piece of software with CSV files, etc. So again, if that's something of interest, do let me know. I think we've actually covered all of the questions now. A couple of people do want a copy of that webinar, so not a problem, we'll get that sorted for you. If there's nothing further, I'm going to draw the webinar to a close, and I'd like to thank you all for joining us today, and to thank you to our guests, John and Albert, for their demonstration today. So thank you guys, thank you for joining us, and thank you everybody for coming along.